Welcome to Talking Industrial Automation, a podcast where you get to know the people who make modern industrial automation possible. You will get to hear from CSIA system integrators and industry partners to get a better understanding of how they help their clients solve process challenges and how they've earned success in their careers. Along the way, we will touch on system integration best practices, technology, trends, and challenges. Whether you are a manufacturer, end user, supplier, or system integrator, you will enjoy the insights these industry professionals bring to this podcast. Let's get started. Hi, my name is Lisa Richter, the host of Talking Industrial Automation, a podcast where you get to know the people who make modern industrial automation and processing possible. In today's episode, we're talking industrial automation with Jeremy Anderson, who serves as President of Process and Data Automation at the Krones Group, where his job is to help manufacturing organizations modernize their systems, sharpen their operations, and get more out of the technology and people they already have. Jeremy has built his career in precision manufacturing, working at the intersection of process optimization, data-driven operations, and industrial automation, while partnering with operations, engineering, and leadership teams to drive efficiency, standardization, and reliability across complex production environments. Beyond his executive role, Jeremy serves in an advisory capacity for the Penn State Behrend School of Engineering, helping align what students learn with what the manufacturing world actually needs. These days, his work sits right at the center of some of the most important conversations in manufacturing: how to scale automation intelligently, build systems and teams that last, and create long-term value through disciplined, practical transformation. He is also scheduled to be on the keynote stage during the CSIA conference in May for a panel discussion called The New R&D, Rip Off and Duplicate. Jeremy, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Before I forget to ask, tell me a little bit more about what is happening at the conference.
Oh, perfect. Well, beyond the normal wonderful presentation and community that's there, this was a really neat feature, and I really wanted to be part of it because it got to the heart in my mind of what really makes the CSIA community special. And I love the playfulness of it too, the rip off and duplicate, because in the best way possible, so many of us have leaned on others to give something back or to get something from this community. And then as I was telling your president, it really felt like the time for us to step up, and be a part of that. So special event, and looking forward to it.
I appreciate that. So by president, we don't mean the current president. We mean
Correct.
CSIA CEO Adrian Meyer, who has been
Yes.
organizing some of the content for the conference.
Yes.
And specifically, this particular session will be opening the conference and feature some system integrators up on the keynote stage, sharing some of the successes they've had with CSIA tools or the CSIA community or the CSIA best practices, and kind of just really sharing some success stories, I believe. Yeah.
Yep.
So let's switch back to you. Tell me a little bit about your origin story.
Oh my. So my dad always told me that, I started out taking things apart from an early age, and that at some point I got good at putting them back together again. And honestly, I think that's kind of where it began. And really over the years, it's just been a desire to know more about the pieces and parts that go into the automation community, and then finding those like-minded people, build those connections, and now moving into more an executive role, kind of building a pathway for the next generation. And so just a passionate community and highly technical, and both of those things I think just really spoke to me.
Yeah, I have a special place in my heart for all the mothers of engineers who had to find their toasters taken apart and everything else in pieces around the house.
Yeah, bless their hearts. Yeah.
So, speaking of moms, if you had to describe to your mom what it is that you do, how would you do that?
Oh, well, I the first thing we used to start out with was, have you ever seen the show How It's Made? And literally we would try to find a product, a home appliance, or something that they knew of. And then we would talk about, okay, well, we don't do that, but we do the pieces behind the scenes to make it possible. And it's still kind of our go-to for parties, things like that. But in order to make it more tangible, we actually built a tabletop batching demo for STEAM fairs and for career fairs because we just needed something that really spoke to what our community does. And we take these commercial off the shelf items and we build them to purpose and deploy them in the community. And so that's kind of how we started trying to go a little bit better than that icebreaker.
Yeah, I love that idea. So let's talk a little bit more specifically about PDA.
Sure.
How did that company begin and then kind of evolve over the years?
Oh, no, it's a cool story. So we were founded in 2002, and our founders had an opportunity to kind of go out of the Erie community or find a way to stay here. And because of our close ties to the community, they chose to stay. And so from our founders' kitchen, more or less, I don't know, the typical home office, that small core team was built to serve the local manufacturing municipality base within the Erie community. And then as we grew, Erie has been on some hard times, much like most of the Rust Belt. We're loyal to the community, but we've had some tougher challenges put in front of us. And so as we scaled up, we quickly got to a size of staff where we needed to branch out. We needed to go further afield. And thankfully, we have a nice literal microclimate here for food and beverage manufacturing, which gave us a nice specialty in that. Then we were able to take that and take it out to the wider audience. Doing that got the attention of the Krones Group, and we were acquired by them in 2017 to be their digitalization arm within North America. So it just kind of gave a nice solidification to that business plan and then continued our growth and got to a point now where we're actually going to do our first expansion. And that's just been announced, and we're working with a good internal candidate to solidify that and actually solidify the area for us.
Erie, you mean Erie, Pennsylvania,
Correct.
which is
Yes,
on one of the Great Lakes.
it is indeed. Yep.
Yeah,
We're the little bit between Cleveland and Buffalo.
got it.
Yep.
Let me ask you a question. If you are a system integrator, would you like to talk to other system integrators about the challenges you're facing? If so, I have good news for you because that's exactly what happens at the CSIA conference. This is where SIs share their knowledge with other SIs. This is the only event in the world where you'll get peer-driven strategies on everything from AI adoption to team retention and thriving in uncertain times, all from SI owners and executives who've been in your shoes. This year also features two can't-miss workshops. The CSIA Marketing Workshop, where SI marketers share real stories and real results, and the CSIA Best Practices Workshop, which is packed with insights to optimize your operations and deliver exceptional results. Plus, you'll hear from Dan Heath, #1 New York Times bestselling author, on his latest book, Reset: How to Change What's Not Working. Whether you are looking to sharpen your skills, expand your network, or stay ahead of industry trends, the CSIA 2026 conference, May 4th through 8th in Baltimore, is the place to be for you and your team. Explore it all at www.controlsys.org/2026 conference. See you in Baltimore. So tell me a little bit more about your company. Like maybe what's one of the smartest decisions that the company's made recently?
Oh, sure. I would say the entrepreneurial operating system, or EOS, which is a really big buzzword in our community, has been a phenomenal thing. Like I said, we blessed with so many great, talented people, and with just enough, maybe not enough time to get everything done we want to get done. And so putting this structure in place became like a project charter for the company, if you will, right? It became something that we could work against and, see measurable action in place. And even better, as we continue to grow, find ways to break apart the work and now get rising talent in our organization connected, get them seeing the business plan and building that out. So for us, that's been a real implemented success.
All right, pop quiz.
Yes.
What does EOS stand for?
Entrepreneurial operating system.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice. We actually had one of the speakers 2 conferences ago to
Oh,
talk about the
okay.
system and have some system integrators up on the stage talking about how it's really helped them as well. So validation on that
Yeah.
approach. So tell me a little bit about what's unique about how you or your company approaches a project.
So we call it the PDA way. So again, another tenet of EOS is you have to put these things down and brand them, if you will. And so we chose the PDA way. And really, from the inception, it's kind of a full service approach to the client. So it's engineering based sales qualification into coordinated kickoffs, introduction to the team, all the way through to our guarantee at the end of the projects to stick with them and be part of the life cycle of it. So that's kind of been what we've solidified to help us differentiate ourselves.
What do you think the secret sauce is for getting your customers to return to you again and again and again to get that repeat business?
First and foremost, it's the people. It's really nice. Again, go back to the community. So empowering to see people make these connections through business that become a bit more. And so, yeah, people first, absolutely. And then secondly, again, going back to EOS, our guarantee. The way that we back up the work. Not every project is what you would have sketched out on paper, but our unwavering commitment to be with the client through and through, I think, really does speak well for the character of this organization.
So, a potential client is trying to decide between you and a competitor or between two system integrators. What's your advice for that prospective customer in terms of how they should approach that or what they should be thinking about?
Oh, no, excellent question. Any SI, any firm that's been on the block for a few years and has grown to a certain size, I mean, there's a core nucleus there. They're doing good work, right? So doing good work first, that's great. But I mean, to your point, what sets us, or what should our clients be looking for? And it's that evidence of growth, evidence of scale, because to do that, you have to get beyond one or two, three or four excellent people and get into processes and systems that can scale. And really that comes important because everybody at some point is going to want to go to sleep, take vacation, etc. And if that one guy is the guy that's on an island, on a honeymoon, whatever, that's going to be challenging. Businesses that show that they have that depth of bench, that demonstrable depth of bench, really, I think, can be separated out from the greater herd.
Yeah, so like that cross training and institutional knowledge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, those investments in the people. I mean, as a client, I look for that to see that there's definitely repeatability in what we can find.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you're talking to your customers, what are you finding they're expressing as like their challenges right now?
Definitely a interesting time to be around. So I'll focus in again, core consumer products, food and beverage are kind of our space. So my knowledge of the industry is kind of hyper focused on that. And, it's that need to reliably deliver, with ever changing tools, with fewer technical assets on site, all while government regulation, competition are increasing the landscape on you. And, balancing Industry 4.0 with tighter regulations, with tariffs and everything else, that's the space. And of course, we still see people more leaving the market than entering the market. So now we have also constriction of our own internal resources. That's usually what I going to talk to other executives. That's kind of what keeps them up at night.
Yeah. So remember a couple years ago, a lot of consumer goods were really into personalization, like
Mhm.
your personal shampoo or like even Coke had like the names on the
Oh
bottles, or
yeah,
you could order your
yeah,
dog special whatever. Is that still really a trend? I mean, I haven't seen as much, but you're in it more day to day. Is that
yeah. What you're always trying to find is the market keeps evolving, and it's one of the things I keep telling our team as we grow right out onboarding is the market space is ever changing, and so sizes, types, ingredients, packaging, market format, market reach, these things constantly evolve, and so for us in our space, that represents opportunity because that means machines have to be retrofit, data sets have to be changed, and so it does constantly breed growth for us. Even in the economic downturns, as I mentioned, we were founded in '02, so we started right after 9/11 and got through '08, 16, 20. And what we constantly saw was, as you said, when times are very good, now we're trying to upscale ourselves. We're trying to find niches into making a connection with that buyer. When times are tough, people are more cost constrained. And so then we see a movement, a shift towards value sizing and value packaging, things like that. And every one of those tends to breed its own opportunities.
me ask you a question. Don't get mad. How many people in your life truly understand what it is that you do? I'm willing to guess the answer is not too many. I get it. So many of us toil in anonymity. But what if I told you that I have a place where you can go to meet and talk and commiserate with people who do understand what you do because they do the same thing? Amazing, I know. But that's really the bottom line what CSIA is all about. And recently, we've expanded our learning and networking opportunities to help you find your people. We are calling them special interest groups. These groups are aligned around topics such as emerging leaders or marketing, and they meet virtually throughout the year with some plans for meeting in person as well, probably in conjunction with the CSIA annual conference. We will be bringing more online throughout the year, but for now, if either of those topics sound interesting, go to www.controlsys.org/events to check out what we have lined up. Full disclosure, you do need to be a member of CSIA to join the marketing SIG, but the Emerging Leaders one is open to anyone who wants to give it a try. So why not take a minute and check out the upcoming schedule at www.controlsys.org/events. Your people are waiting.
So if you're thinking about the future, I know we're hearing kind of some rumblings. I'm starting to hear some little rumblings. Radios are getting a little restless. But what makes PDA optimistic about the future of the automation industry?
I'm going to go back to what I just said, because it really is, again, at the end of the day, our customers are serving the large consumer goods market within the Americas. And that change in market dynamic that almost always evolving, like you said, they'll do short runs of those specialty cans. The ingredient mixture for pet foods will go very organic and fresh. And then maybe it's kibble, but it's better kibble. All these little dynamics that are out there to kind of grab our attention as consumers breeds opportunity for businesses like ours.
So let's talk a little bit more about me. And by me, I mean CSIA.
Okay.
Why did PDA become a member of CSIA?
Oh, good question. Good question. First, it was as we were scaling up, right? We went from a local provider to now be trying to regional, then national. We needed to have something that showed customers that had never seen us before a demonstratable metric of quality, something independently verifiable. And so that was the first thing that brought us in. And what's caused us to stay, I think we became certified in 2012. So I think we just did our 5th certification. What's kept us is the community. It's just, you would think on paper, all of us would be competitors. And in some sense we are. But even there, the willingness to show a lot of candor in what's gone right, what's gone wrong, what's next is like nothing I've ever seen in any other industry. It's truly wonderful.
I would agree. I worked in associations my whole career. I've never come across it. Never
Yeah.
seen anything like it. In an
Special.
association that's business oriented, to be a business association, the amount of sharing is really incredible, for sure.
No. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's go back to the certified aspect.
Okay.
So from a supplier perspective, why should a prospective customer hire a CSA certified member versus maybe a company that's not?
And so I guess I would challenge a customer on how they buy other products, right? Most of us, when we go into the supermarket, you're looking for date stamps, to make sure it's a fresh product, or you're looking for a vegan label if that's, or allergens, So you're always looking for some metric, something you can rely on to show that this product is truly what you want to bring in. And I would say it's for that exact reason. We buy parts, we supply parts, we build panels that are ISO certified or UL certified. And really, the CSI certification functions like that for the processes of the service businesses that we are.
Going back to this idea of sharing in the
Mhm.
spirit of that, would you be willing to tell me about maybe a mistake or misstep that you experienced, executed? You executed a mistake. And what did you learn from it?
Common joke around our office is there's myself and then Tim is our vice president, and we have equal but separate responsibilities. And the joke is that I get us into trouble and Tim gets us out of trouble. And so that leaping before I look is an inherent weakness, strength, depending on the day of the week, that I personally have. And as I've matured, I have learned that the time saved, well, a lot of times in jumping right to execution is only added on the backside, and sometimes, unfortunately, exponentially. So that would be my caution to those that are wired similarly to me.
Yeah. So do you think that comes from just an excitement to get started on the actual work, or do you think that comes from maybe a little bit of enthusiasm or overly optimistic, or what's the driver behind that?
So for me personally, it's just as soon as I see an idea, I want in 100%. I just, I see the vision, I'm bought in, and I am, foot to the floor, let's go get it.
Yeah.
And I'm surrounded by smart individuals and good processes, so I have all the faith in the world that it will work out because I've seen it happen a million times, but not recognizing the toll that I might cause to my counterparts. Again, trying to be a bit more reserved in my formative years here.
Yeah. That's interesting because normally I think of engineers a little bit risk averse and wanting to
Mhm.
make like a very, cautious, a very thorough
Yep.
decision. And so to hear that you've actually got this side of you that's like, no, let's go do it, is kind of a unique thing, I would
Well,
imagine.
I think, again, EOS, right? You have the vision traction organizer, and there's the visionary, and there's the integrator. And so I think there's a number of us out here in the community that are just passionate about what we do. We're built to be the cheerleaders of our organization, and we enjoy being able to see those other individuals, those much more risk adverse, much more methodical, and that is the best compliment we could ever have to our work is to have those people around because
Yeah.
in the best that yin and yang effect really does kind of make an excellent organization.
Yeah, 100%. I'm grateful every time I go over a bridge, get in an elevator, any
Oh yeah.
of those things,
Yep.
any of
No,
those.
I wanna make sure somebody did their full SAT and then somebody else verified it. Absolutely, yep.
100%. So speaking of careers, if you had to choose something completely different than what you do right now, what would it be?
Travel writer. I had to think about this one a little bit, but, the other benefit of being in this, service-based industry that we find ourselves in is it requires us to go to the customer sites. It requires us to go see new greenfield, brownfield installations, etcetera, and that inherently means finding new places, finding new people, and to me, that's the greatest perk, is just, you still get to call home wherever that may be, but you get to see, you know, more of your region, more of this nation, more of this world, depending on your organization, and that's just fantastic. So
Yeah.
I got to find a way in my next chapter of life to make that still part of my day to day life.
Well, I'm rooting for you. I love that
Thanks.
too. I love a good road trip where you pull over
Yep.
and see the largest ball of string or,
Yep.
whatever crazy thing is.
Just whatever happens to be there. Yeah, exactly. There's always a good antidote out of it.
Yeah, 100%. What's the best advice you could give your younger self just getting started?
So what I tell students when they ask me, tell you or people that are just being hired on is, if you can do two things and do them well, life will treat you well. And that's be pleasant, solve problems. And if you can balance those two things out, I think you can make an impact anywhere you are. The 20-something me really needed to spend some more time on the be pleasant part. Just being animated, seeing my way through it. I could be a bit headstrong, I think was what my folks might have said about me. So learning to rein that in, that's what I would tell my younger self for sure.
Well, that's it for today's episode of Talking Industrial Automation. If you are interested in learning more about Jeremy or PDA, you can find them on the CSIA Industrial Automation Exchange at www.csiaexchange.com. Thanks for listening, and thank you, Jeremy, for joining me today.
Thanks very much for having me. It was an absolute pleasure.
If you enjoy this podcast, please subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also really help the show by leaving a review and sharing with colleagues. We're all just slaves to the logarithm now, so I gotta ask. Thanks for listening to the Talking Industrial Automation podcast. Thanks also to bensound.com and Wistia for the music bumpers. Until next time.